So the Warriors lost to the Miami Heat last night. They are now 3-5 in the season. So they've lost 3 games straight to Miami, to Detroit, to the Hornets. So not that great. They also lost 4 out of the last 5 because they also lost to the Phoenix Suns. Their only 2 wins so far are against the Lakers and the Kings, so not exactly the toughest of competition. The Lakers definitively technically have one of the worst offenses in the NBA. Before we move on, like, subscribe, you know the deal. So I want to talk about the Warriors, why they're struggling so much now. They're 3-5. So the Warriors are pretty much struggling all around. After 8 games, they have the 20th ranked offense and the 25th ranked defense. So that's not good. Pretty much both sides of the ball, they're pretty terrible. On offense, so the offense, the Warriors do still get their classic ball movement. You know, they are 3rd right now in assist percentage at 68%. So that's pretty freaking good. In terms of assists per game, they're also 3rd with 29 per game. So they're still getting their classic Warriors ball movement. They're also able to generate a ton of good looks and good possessions. They're also able to generate a ton of good looks and good possessions. You can see that their true shooting percentage is 58%, which is above average, 11th in the league. So that's pretty freaking good. Number 1 is only 61%. So they're pretty good in terms of generating good looks. In terms of their style of play, they still also play super fast. They have the 2nd fastest pace in the league. Now, in terms of their final great strength, they have the ball movement, they have the fast pace, they have great looks, and the 3-point shot. They're taking the number 1 amount of threes per game. They're also making a whole bunch of them too, 14.5 threes per game. The problem is they're pretty terrible in terms of efficiency. They're only shooting 34.6% in terms of efficiency, which is basically 20th. So that's not good. And if we look a little deeper into where their threes are, they take most of their threes. They take the most amount of threes above the break. But on the other hand, they are 7th in terms of efficiency on those above the break threes, shooting 37%. So that's pretty good. Now, if they're still playing fast, moving the ball, hitting a ton of threes, why do they have the 20th ranked offense? Well, number 1, they turn the ball over way too much. Looking at their turnovers per game, they commit the 3rd most turnovers per game at 16.5 every single game. That is not good. In terms of turnover percentage, they also are 24th with 15.7%. 15.7% of their possessions, they turn it over. That is, again, not so good. They're ranked 25th in terms of opponent points off turnovers. So they're really terrible in terms of keeping possession of the ball. That is not what a veteran team like this normally should be showing. But then again, they do have a lot of young players. Another weakness in terms of their offense is their amount of free throws that they can generate per game, because they are not generating enough free throws. They literally only shoot as a team 22 free throws per game, which is ranked 24th in the entire league. And one of the reasons why they're not able to generate these free throws is because they don't actually get to the rim. In terms of shot attempts at the rim in the restricted area, they take the 4th lowest, the 4th fewest field goal attempts at the rim. Only 22.3. Because they have trouble getting to the rim, getting shots off at the rim, they also do not generate enough free throws. And one surprising thing about the Warriors is that even though they play at a super fast pace, they're the 2nd fastest team in terms of pace. We already talked about that. But on the other hand, they don't get out into transition enough for the pace that they play at. They only have 14.7% of their possessions are in transition. That is the 6th fewest. They're ranked 25th in terms of transition possessions. So they are not taking good care of the ball. They committed a ton of turnovers. They do not get to the rim enough. They don't draw enough shooting fouls, and they don't get easy buckets in transition. So it's no wonder that their offense is 20th. What about their defense? So the defense is exactly the problem here. What's actually fallen off the cliff this season is their defense. This season, the Warriors have the 25th ranked defense, allowing only 115.6 points per game, but that's still 25th. Last season, they had the 2nd best defense in the entire league, allowing only 106 points per game. So there are 2 defensive pillars that have been keeping the Warriors defense above water, even though it's been pretty terrible so far, and they deserve credit for that. So one thing that they have been really good at is generating turnovers in terms of steals. They're ranked 11th in terms of steals per game. They generate 7.9 steals per game. The good news is, with those steals that they generate, they average 19.9 points off turnovers, which is 6th in the league. Outside of generating steals, the other pillar of their defense that's been looking pretty good is the fact that they can absolutely shut down the rim. In terms of allowing opponents to take shot attempts at the rim. In the restricted area, they allow the third fewest shots at the rim, only 21 shots at the rim per game. So that's pretty good. They can shut down the rim. They can also generate a ton of steals. Now, on to the weakness in the Warriors defense. Number one is their rebounding. In terms of rebounding, they are one of the worst rebounding teams in the league. They're ranked 23rd in terms of rebound percentage. They're ranked 22nd in terms of defensive rebounding percentage, 18th in terms of offensive rebounding percentage. They are not a good rebounding team at all. The other major weakness in their defense is linked with the other strength in their defense. I said that their strength on defense was deterring shot attempts at the rim. Well, one of the weaknesses of their defense that causes is the shot that they do end up giving up instead, which is the most amount of threes. They give up 36.9, almost 37 threes per game, which is ranked 5th highest in the entire league. Also, they do not get to the free throw line enough, but on the other hand, they allow their opponents to shoot 27.5 free throws per game, which is the third most in the entire league. So they're not getting to the free throw line, but they're setting their opponents to the free throw line. They're taking a ton of threes, but they're also giving up a ton of threes as well. So the Warriors struggle to rebound on both ends. They give up a ton of threes, they give up a ton of free throws. It's tough to win games with such huge holes on defense. So what's my takeaway right now in terms of the Warriors? Right now, the team has a lot of evidence of a sloppy, turnover-heavy team with poor effort on defense, especially in terms of like rebounding, in terms of running players off the three-point line. Being a bad defensive team is not the identity the Warriors have had this whole time. This entire dynasty run has been built off their defense. A lot of people do not give enough credit for how good and solid they've been on defense this whole time. Their identity also has been the third quarter Warriors. The third quarter Warriors are probably the most electrifying show in basketball. The good news is that still exists. In terms of the third quarter, they have the 13th ranked offense, the third best defense in the third quarter, and they're outscoring their opponents in the third quarter by 14.4 points, which is the 5th best net rating. The problem, on the other hand, even though the third quarter Warriors still exist, is that all of that just falls apart in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, they have the 24th ranked offense, the 28th ranked defense, and the 28th ranked net rating. They're getting outscored by 20 in the fourth quarter. So this is a long season. We're only 8 games in, but the Warriors need to figure out where the problem is, because they can turn it on in the third quarter. They just need to figure out how to bring that over to the fourth quarter so they can actually close out these games. And to me, the Warriors can regain their identity easily. Just give it time. I'm out.